Hello and welcome to Tales Across Time and Space. I'm Thomas, your Game Master, and I'm joined by Ari Wolf.
What's up, Wolfpack? Ari Wolf here, and I'm playing Archangel the Nova.
I have no sound.
Is your plug? Also, Mistral.
Hi, I'm Mistral, and I'm playing Inferno the Transformed.
Also, Jane ESP.
Hey, it's me, Janie SB, and I'm playing Cutie Carbuncle, the Janus.
Also, Zeistund.
Hello, I am Zeistund, and I am playing Blackbird, the Doomed.
Also, Crystalline Kitsune.
Hi, I'm Crystalline Kitsune, and I'm playing Artemis, the protege.
Also.
Enough alsos.
Radical Dishonesty.
Hi, I'm Radical Dishonesty. I'm playing Regalia the Outsider.
Also, I realized I didn't want to call it out when I was saying it. I was still saying Tales Across Time and Space instead of just Tales Across. I gotta really update that script. Today
You need to get over it. It's over.
Today we're playing Masks: A New Generation. If you want to see more, like, subscribe, and follow. This notifies you and helps us reach a wider audience. We're back from a bit of a hiatus. We're also back earlier than normal, so we're trying this out. See if we can keep this going. Give us a little more time to bounce off each other, so I don't have to clip off Ari or Rad at the end of the episode anymore.
Just those two.
Oh.
Also this week, we're going to be doing, on our gaming night, we're going to be playing, for the first time, Jackbox Party Pack 8, because that released while we were on vacation. Haven't had a chance to play it, so we're going to do a bit of a longer play, where we're just going to go through the whole pack and see what fun nonsense we can find with it, and what games we like, which games we hate, which games we like to hate, and which games we hate to like. It'll be fun.
Cool.
But yeah, also because it's been 2 weeks and I have not had time to sit down and re-listen to the last episode at all. I don't remember the full details of what happened, but more or less it was the conclusion of an arc, and the more important part was after Forge gave Archangel some affirmation that they are actually doing okay. But later on that night, the police arrived and arrested Forge for the assault and attempted murder of Crimson Cloak. We resume 1 week later. While there is statutes in the laws of Halcyon City for Forge, for doctored tapes, doppelgangers, and mind controls, the problem here right now is there's no leads to this in Forge's case, and also he refuses to reveal where he was the night that the assault took place. He mentions things such as that the secrecy is important. The secrecy of what he has done is important to both his work as a hero and his work as a businessman. But that does not seem to that has not warmed the heart of District Attorney Gunn, who is prosecuting him in this case. Crimson Cloak is still in critical conditions and has not regained consciousness.
Look, he was venting. Yeah. See, I tried to do an Among Us joke and nothing happens.
I didn't get that was a joke.
As is
Oh,
right.
he was. Oh, okay.
I get it.
I get it.
I get it now.
Okay.
To be honest, I didn't get it at first.
Hello, fellow youngsters. I know your Among Us jokes.
Anyways, we're gonna Christopher Walken away from that. But yes, the comic opens up with Archangel sitting down and picking up a phone in the opening panel. Next one you see on the other side of glass is Forge in the stunning I forgot the word orange. Whoa,
Orange?
orange.
Black
Um,
and
Game
mean the
Master, do
color?
we need to have a conversation?
You're fired.
well, he was trying to. He was trying to think of what it rhymed with.
Apparently.
Obviously, that's what he was distracted by.
Yeah,
Yeah.
door hinge.
But yes, no, his orange jumpsuit. I think the problem was I was trying to attach an adjective to it, or an adverb, and I just blanked. Yeah, orange jumpsuit,
Well.
and
Go lay down.
and notably an
Sorry.
inhibitor collar around his neck, standard issue for any powered individual in.
I hear a baby.
I said you brought up the noisy one.
I'm sorry, that was
Obviously,
I'm
that's
sorry.
the showing on their
that was
phone.
perfectly timed. You were going to just finish that sentence and the cat just wanted to finish it for you.
I'm not sure what she's meowing about this time. Everything. She's been
All of
meowing
the
about
things.
everything.
Okay. Yes. Forge.
Don't pick on my baby. She's sweet.
It's been.
But noisy.
She's just mad that she got left alone for 2 weeks, okay? With Lucy.
Anywho,
You've been
you were
made.
saying
Abandoned her all on her own.
With a kitten.
banana.
Thank you. As for probably the first time and last time I'll ever say thank you for a banana.
Well, I know you've been trying to talk, and I'm like, okay,
Yeah.
we need to get off the
And
cat.
not talk about the concept banana. I just have. You know what? This is not the time nor the place.
You have an allergy.
Yes. Moving on. Forge, talking to him. You've been doing this daily since he got brought in. They haven't set a court date yet for him, but it is looming.
Because of course it is.
So what do you say as you pick up the phone?
I'm starting this conversation.
Yeah. Sorry.
I guess you would start with a, God, the cat.
Yes, because the cat is right up by the mic now.
I'm trying to remove her.
Which she'd start with, how are you doing? You still comfortable? Need anything? What can I do? Blah, 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 blah.
Yeah, it's like he's pretty like, it's fine, it's fine. Things are proceeding exactly as they always do in these types of cases.
Oh, it would help if you could provide us with what you were doing. Sitting there and keeping it secret's not helping your case, and you know it.
No, I am aware of the repercussions of it, but sometimes the cost. Rain, why do you hate me today? I was about to say, sometimes the cost is worth the price.
The price is worth the whatever.
So, okay, yeah. You know what? Rewind that. Let's do it this way. Sometimes the sacrifice is necessary. There.
There you go. You did the words.
You're okay staying in prison and leaving me and Inferno alone again.
You're not alone. We are working on a defense that does not require divulging of sensitive secrets.
What sensitive secrets? You got caught committing something. I'm pretty sure secrets don't matter at this point.
Secrets always matter. More people,
Yeah.
a haphazardly kept secret can endanger countless lives.
And our lives in danger because of the secret of yours?
You are fine. I am not. The secret is being kept safe, and it is not a threat to you.
That doesn't answer my question.
You are not in any danger.
As much as you hate it, I'm gonna figure out what this secret is. If it helps you keep out of prison, I don't care.
I will not waste my best breath in trying to dissuade you. I know you better than that. And at least I will acknowledge that while your actions, though as misguided as I may think they am, at least your intentions are noble in this case.
Gonna admit, was pretty sure you were gonna try and talk me out of it again.
No, my breath was... No, I'm not going to waste my breath. And I made sure, recently to triple the firewall strength as well.
You really are paranoid, aren't you?
I'm not actually in character for this, but I have to say it. It's not paranoid if they are actually out to get you.
Thanks, Dad.
You say paranoid, I see reasonable precautions. You're not the only one who might come along snooping in my affairs.
If you say so.
Alright, I think that's where we're going to cut that scene there. I think that kind of sets the tone well.
I thought that did it fabulously.
Inferno.
I don't know if it helps the flow of the story, but is there any questions you may want to ask her to think about while the rest of us have our scene?
No. I am spreading breadcrumbs with these scenes and seeing what trails you guys follow and which ones get eaten up by little birds.
Or the cat.
Well, obviously, if there were birds around, your cat would be making more noises.
Preferably the cat is silent.
All lay down! It's not for you!
I could explain her strange noises.
But yes. Alright, so Inferno. This has obviously been a bit of a stressful time for you, in some levels, like both like stressful flashbacks. Cause as much as you much as you feel about Forge, at least he's been consistency in your life, like. But this is just thing. So, and also with everything, with the place crawling with police and investigators and their elite hacker friends, they're just trying to find out what actually is going on. Like, it's not even like you can't even go to the simulator to blow off stream. So you have to leave the house to actually kind of do something just to kind of vent and frustration out here. So, much like any well-adjusted superhero, you decide to take it out on the criminals of the city. What nefarious deed did you just stop? It can be as petty or as grandiose as you'd like.
Pick up that litter.
Demon empowering Dustin. Let's make that an offhanded character all of a sudden.
Probably, just small time, robbery.
Okay. Like, purse snatching robbery or, like, convenience store holdup? Small time.
Convenience store holdup.
Okay. So, yeah. And now my brain is replaying, like, that scene from Venom now. But, I feel like...
Probably about the same end result.
Yeah, no.
I still want to see Venom.
in a weird way, it's like a black comedy rom-com in a weird way.
Mm-hmm.
So good.
Huh.
So good.
But yes, that you're hearing it. Yeah, so we just have a panel of a convenience store with just the meanwhile, and suddenly there's just like a whoosh as a person just kind of gets blasted out of the convenience store front window, and Inferno's just kind of stepping out. The guy is clearly unconscious, and you're just kind of like, just like not enough, I imagine.
Mm-hmm.
But the other reason you've been a bit on edge is that you kind of look around. It's something you keep seeing in the corner eyes is that stupid mask that looks just like your old face.
Mm-hmm.
It's gotten even more aggressive. Like you should keep seeing it just showing up everywhere.
Mm-hmm.
And this time you just kind of see it and just kind of glaring at you from in a nearby alley, and it's just like, what? How do you lash out at it this time?
Go toward strike out with a punch covered in flames.
Yeah, so you just kind of do that and just kind of you just Captain Falcon it and just Flaming Eagle optional. But it just like
Does it at least make the screech like a flaming eagle?
More like a bottle rocket kind of screech, that kind of as you kind of shatter it again and also hit a nearby dumpster which slides on fire down the alley. Boy, is that a metaphor for 2020, if there ever was one. And you just see, this time it's just like you look down and you just see it again just staring at you on the wall. And then something weird happens.
Mm-hmm.
It starts to speak to you. Not in your voice, not at all, but someone else's voice. And it just says, "This was a gift,
Yeah. Who said I want it?
It was just an offer. And a chance to step out. Escape from your problems for once. It was meant for you. You wouldn't have the issues that your friend had with one of my works. You could have taken it off any time. Not trying to tempt you or anything here.
Why should I believe you?
Not trying to make you believe you. I'm just trying to let you know things. You deserve better than what you've been dealt. You know that?
What good? Would it do me?
See, maybe you could have the best of both worlds. Not in character, like Hannah Montana.
No, that's what I immediately. That's what my brain immediately went as well.
Not unlike Miss Montana.
But yes, back in character. Be the hero and still be normal. Able to touch people without them wincing in pain. I mean, sure, you could keep yourselves among the superhero of the world, but who wants to be super all the time? But, again, it was a gift. You have the right to refuse it.
Don't have anything left in that world.
Fine. But maybe you have something left in this one that's... You're not the only injustice out there. Think about it. How many times there is people with grand powers able to properly help everyone. And they waste it on themselves. Sure, some of them are noble, but for every Ellaman, there is a calamity.
Why do I feel being called out here?
What?
Maybe you are.
I'm actually not.
I think you feeling called out says a lot more about you.
And I approve. That is very fitting. That you use.
Like I say, this is canon. Like I am going to try to liberate this. I'm going to try to get those powers in the hands of people who deserve to be heroes. Deserve to be better than what they've been given. You deserve better than you're given. Even if you're not willing to give it to yourself.
You can't decide who deserves to be a hero.
Who decides whether do we really? Is a person who is noble of spirit but doesn't have the options, they get to struggle, throwing themselves against the machine that is our society, futilely, while this person who won the genetic lottery decides, no, I deserve a gold-encrusted toilet?
Hey, guess what? That's life. We don't always get what we deserve.
Maybe what I'm trying to say is maybe we could change that. Make things the way they should be. Not how they are, but how they ought to be.
So you're gonna change the world?
I can't. All I can do is put power in the hands of those who deserve it. And maybe... Okay, scroll back that maybe. My brain just kind of went autopilot there. I was like, I don't know where I'm going with that maybe.
And maybe... ...
There's the... Look. There is power. An ultimate power. Even those totems themselves fear this power. That's why they locked it away. I need help liberating this from one who would try to doom this world and put it in the hands of one who could actually save it.
Then why are you talking to me?
Because I want... What part of locked away by the totems don't you get? I can't do this on my own. I can only give gifts.
Wait, locked away by the totems?
Yeah. That's what he said.
Womp womp.
Dum, 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 dum.
I am gathering friends who can help change this. And I wanted to extend an invitation to you, one who was so wronged by fate. Isn't that what you called your old team? The Fatebreakers? No destiny but your own?
So you think... you make it so I can... be this person again, at least part-time, and I'm gonna be your friend?
You just hear it just sighs, and it's like, this isn't your fault. Sadly, the world has scarred you too much. Too much to see the truth in front of you. No matter. You were just meant to be one of many.
Her claw got stuck on her belt.
But keep this in mind. stay out of the way. And the mask just burns away for reals this time. How do you feel right now?
Kind of lost, kind of, like I had lost a chance, but at the same time, hadn't just not wanting to be used, but angry because it was the only chance to possibly lose this.
Yeah,
So the one thing I'm wondering is, like, when that thing says the totems, does everyone know? Is everyone like all set on who the totems are?
like, are we talking
no
about
idea.
meta sense, or are we talking about in-universe sense?
In universe sense, like, do we think that they are aware of this?
Like, are normal people aware of the term totems?
Yes.
Are they?
Damn it! You're making me decide.
It's your story.
I think it's a known
If
thing.
I may-
Yeah.
If I may put in my 2 cents, I would assume that most normal people would not know what totems are.
Yeah. Like,
But heroes might have heard of it.
yeah.
But unless you know someone with a totem, you wouldn't exactly know what they are.
Yeah, like, I think that, the way to even get people to, like, I think the information's out there, it's just, I think a lot of people think it's a myth. You know, like, a lot of people are so wrapped into the fact that thinking that the Greek god heroes here are the actual Greek gods. I think it's a bit, like, it's a lot of debate between people, honestly, on like, who, like, Zeus and Hades and all of them are.
Oh, yeah, so that's your scene there. I kept feeling like I should have done something mechanically with that, but I don't know. Probably tried to shift your labels at one point there, but why don't we do that here? Because I feel like
maybe shifting superior up versus, I don't know, mundane down.
Let me think here.
Review? I didn't mean to do that.
Yeah,
I was gonna say.
I don't feel like there's that's the problem here. I don't think there's a clean cut thing. Because basically what he was saying is you're a victim of this world kind of thing, and you deserve better. So I don't think it's like I don't think it really fits into the labels. I don't think it really.
You're saying no, I don't deserve better. How dare you?
Good.
Aw.
I don't
But
know.
also not in like a guilty way. So.
Yeah, no, it
Poor
was
side.
it was more of a I don't deserve anything. So yeah, but yeah, great scene there. Great scene, by the way. Like, all right, QT Carbuncle. I believe you owe me a mundane roll.
Oh, I mean, a mundane role for how I'm keeping up with my social life.
Yep.
You can do it.
Wait, whoa! When did they change the icons and stuff on?
A couple
Yeah.
weeks ago.
I mean, they had 2
Yeah.
weeks to do it. So
I was gonna say, I think it was like the session before we took our break.
Yeah,
Yeah,
because
like,
they already had
I
everything
swear it didn't
updated.
have this weird wavy thing last time, but okay, I don't love it. That's pretty good. I
All right.
think.
All right.
I've been on top of my duties.
Yep. All right. So what obligation gives you an opportunity or an advantage?
You know what? Because of the recent reveal to my sister, I think family has given me an opportunity here.
Okay. All right. So yeah,
Because of
you have an idea of what you want, or otherwise I can come up with something.
no, the kind of idea I had was more just because of me and my sister getting along better, probably, in this
You know what?
situation.
Here's what I'm
Because
gonna
of- She now knows my secret. She's a big fan, and as long as I'm willing to have a tea party with her once in a while,
Yeah.
she has been basically my sidekick at home.
Yeah. So,
At home sidekick. Again, she's not actually in the action. She's just kind of that supporting member.
and what I would say is you have influence over your little sister right now.
Excellent.
So,
Excellent.
Good. Good.
It's according to plan.
Soon I shall mold you into my own image.
cool it there, Palpatine.
I shall mold you into my vessel.
Your
Sorry, that's too
camera
Xehanort.
is very
That's-
blurry
that's
right
Yeah,
now.
I
Cool.
noticed that.
The focus is going weird, but yeah. Yeah. So you're just coming back for you had a little like sister date kind of thing, where the two of you went out and you figured out a variation on your. That's the other thing. That's the other thing I'll add for your advantage is you worked out all the bugs about doing a mundane cutie carbuncle form. So it's something that's useful for hiding your identity.
Ah, excellent.
So
So now, if other teammates need to see my civilian ID instead of me just walking into laser tag as Cutie Carbuncle,
yep. So yeah. So that's the advantage I'm going to say to you, but. Yeah, you just kind of walked up to I picture you as a person, when you do this, you have to kind of take the city bus kind of thing. Is that reasonable?
that could be right. That could be right. I don't know if... I mean, we have stated our age. I'm trying to figure out, like, about how close to actual car ship you would be, but I don't think that
It
would
might be
something-
more of... I was picturing more of, like, a financial thing. Like, you just haven't been able to... Like, you may have been working on your license or whatever, but you can't afford a car right now.
Yeah, no worries. That makes complete sense. Honest, and as I said, I don't think it's something my character has like as a goal or anything.
Yeah.
Especially since they don't have to even leave home to do their job. So.
Yep. So like as you kind of walk up, your Mary just kind of runs on and just kind of like skipping, kind of like thing as you're kind of like that, and as you kind of look down the street, you see a familiar looking female figure walking towards you in just like plain clothes, baggy, like a hoodie and everything. You see your girlfriend Ember walking up towards you.
All right, I think then we also will need to resolve officially that depending on how much of a time skip,
Been a
I
week.
don't know if we've had a chance to really talk about that, like off panel.
Yep. You guys have not. You haven't seen her since the show.
Okay, so
Like-
this is literally our confrontation. Then I imagine this probably isn't much later, because I probably would have wanted to check on her earlier.
Well,
but
if
she just hasn't been answering my calls, or
Yeah,
hasn't been answering
you've
the
been.
calls.
It's been silence up to this point. Like this is the first time you've seen her since then. You haven't heard anything from her, and she hasn't responded to you at all. So.
All right. Well, if this is one of those awkward bump into those situations,
No, it's she wouldn't. She doesn't go any. She doesn't really do much in this area except for see you. Kind of thing.
Oh, no, that makes sense.
Yeah. So.
Yeah, she is deliberately seeking you out now.
Oh man.
Kind of stops in front of you. Kind of look. Not even looking up into. Hey Dante.
Oh, hey, Emily. Been a bit. Let's just say we're like near a park, and I'm like, Mary, do you mind going over on the swing real
Well,
quick?
you're
I'll
in
come-
front of your house, and she ran.
we're in front of our
Mary
house. Okay.
ran into the door ahead of you. I was already specifically having her kind of
Alright.
exit stage left for this.
Excellent. All right. So fresh move on, but yes. All right. All right. So I will go. Like, would you like to come inside, or?
She kind of just shakes her head.
I get it. If you're dealing with stuff recently, I get it. What happened? What happened with the whole? Sorry. Let me rephrase that. It's been a few. It's been a few days. I haven't heard from you. What's going on?
Just a lot of stuff. Just okay. I should have turned that on silent.
Oh no, she's digivolving.
I mean, she already does digivolve
Did
into
you turn it on silent?
Yes.
Well,
Okay, good.
Timbermon.
So she's just you gotta just like it's just there's a lot going on. And she kind of keeps kind of averting her eyes from you.
Look, if you're dealing with a lot of stuff, I get it. It never is easy to deal with that sort of stuff.
She lets off
But
a hollow sounding laugh.
well, I'm here for you. I do care about you. And if you are struggling with something, I'm here if you need me. But I won't force you to tell me everything if you don't want to.
Dante, that's
Aren't just super. I know that's the type of people we are, is we don't express ourselves a lot. But what I want you to know, though, I'm here for you if you need me.
Dante. Can't have you getting caught up in my mess.
True. But I mean, I guess we both got involved in the mess that happened the other day. So
That's just another day in Halcyon City.
true. What do you remember about it, the whole event? Just curiously.
We established that, like, afterwards they do remember the full event, because I had to quick remember what I had said last time, but
yeah,
no, Forge
and to
specifically.
be fair, I also remembered I did make sure it was a very cautious situation of keeping her even in her evil incarnation. I don't know how aware she is of her evil transformation at a meta level, but
yeah,
this is more of a does she remember anything about what happened outside of her evil transformation, fighting against heroes, etc.?
I remember everything I did while under that stupid music stupidness. Okay? And that's the thing. And she's like, you look at her and she's like, the first thing you notice, like, now that she's kind of looking you full in the face, she's not wearing, like, anything, like, makeup-wise or anything. Like, you kind of think about it, this is the first time you've seen her without, like, like, she's
without her face.
She usually wears pretty, like, heavy, like, goth-style makeup and everything. It's very much her image, and the other thing you notice is that she's been crying. That stuff is just random happenstance. That's not the problem. We can't keep seeing each other. I can't let my stupid life ruin you. He kind of gently strokes one of your cheeks. Too good for that.
Look, if you are afraid of that, that's understandable. I get it. I am curious. So I'm remembering at a meta level that you did tell me about she does have a bit of a tough home life, and you mentioned how, like, before we got into all that chaos, that her dad had or she had a bruise on her from someone.
She had a black eye.
Yeah, a black eye. That's right. So, like, I can imagine it doesn't take two and two together. Would I have ever had seen exactly who it might have been when I was at her home, or
No.
was it just in general? a very unpleasant.
You've seen
moment.
I would say you have seen her mother, who is just kind of just very stern and silent kind of type. You've never seen her father.
But even with the amount of times I've been over,
Yeah.
I might have heard him before. Like, I think that was one of the scenes we had was like where I came over and it sounded like they were having a fight in the background or whatever.
Yeah, that's about as most you've seen. You've never actually met the man.
Oh boy, excellent! This is perfect. Super villain.
He's the Invisible Man.
Obviously, it's Hawkmaw. Her father's Hawkmaw.
Oh, the villain from Miraculous Ladybug. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
I've only seen one episode of that.
I know we need to get back to watching that.
I'm not. It wasn't like enough to get me interested in it.
General. Sorry, getting back on topic.
Yeah.
This is just trying to clarify so I can
Yep, no.
react properly to the character.
Yeah, no. Yeah, basically, depending on this roll, the scene would have played out very differently if you had rolled poorly.
Oh, definitely. Of course. This makes complete sense. In this case, I get it. It might be a breakup, but more on a emotional protection breakup rather than a anger or whatever type of breakup.
Yeah.
I am now sick of you.
Which is fair. I'm okay.
Yeah.
So, all right. I'll look at. I think you may not think you're good enough for it, but I think you're perfectly fine for me. Okay? If you really need a break to figure stuff out, to deal with things, but I want you to know I'm here for you. And looking a little uncomfortable about it, I'm going to hold my arms open for a hug.
She actually turns away and kind of just like takes a few steps and looks over her shoulder. It's like, I know what I'm good for. I'm going to make sure I see through it. And she starts walking away.
As I see her walk away, I'm definitely looking a bit dejected. And like I take my heavy boot and I'm probably like kick my front door or something, just in a little bit of annoyance over the whole thing.
Yeah. If sad was a condition, I probably would have you mark it. Actually, you know what? No. Roll plus conditions marked. You just took a powerful blow.
Oh man. Oh no.
Like that is the move here. Is like he this is like a it's not the worst kind of wham, but it's still a wham.
Okay, so how do I roll?
Just roll 2d6. You have no conditions marked.
Yeah. Hold on. How do I roll a d6 without anything else?
Well, aren't one of your stats plus 0?
What?
Is any of your stats plus 0?
I see how to roll. Oh, crap, I hit 3 of them. Oops. Just take the first 2, so that's 9.
Okay, on a 7 to 9. Choose one from the list that I'm going to pull up here in a second as soon as I figure out which tab it's under. You lash out verbally, which you really can't do in this situation. Though you could take. I don't think you as a player are willing to take it out on Mary.
Also, Jane, I don't think that roll should count because that was a D8.
God dang it. Okay.
Yeah, I was like, how do you get a 7 on a 6-sided die?
Oh, that makes sense. Okay. So I guess it would have been the other dice, but that's
really,
still an 8,
it's just a really good die.
Yeah.
It's loaded.
No, it's not loaded. It's just misprint.
Just roll a fresh roll.
Yeah,
with
you're
2d6.
right. It's a misprint.
Misprinted die. In your
You
favor,
pulled it, Nathan.
naturally.
Give me a fresh 2d6 roll here. Or if you have a stat that's plus 0, just use that.
Un moment. So, okay. Me learning how to do this otherwise. There we go. I think this will be fine. Oh, of course, now I roll 11. That's still terrible.
Okay, honestly, I think that some of these options might fit the situation better. You must remove yourself from the situation, flee, pass out, etc. Lose control of yourself or your powers in a terrible way, or 2 options from the 7 to 9 list.
Well, this is definitely a remove myself from the situation for a bit.
How do you remove yourself from this specific situation? This is where how they're gonna end this scene because you're the only player in this scene. But I just want to know what you do to end this on.
I imagine that even though I am not expressing it on the outside, I'm very annoyed on the inside. So I probably enter my home looking very solemn, just kind of storm past my sister or father, and I basically lock myself in my room and blare some music.
Okay. Yeah, that's kind of the note we're going to end on that scene on. Lysand and
right.
Blackbird and your aunt, who I can never remember the name of. Josephina. Aunt Josephina.
Yeah, Aunt Josephina.
You know why?
We'll just call her Aunt Josie.
She's I you know I actually know why I picked Josephina for the name because of Night Vale.
Ah.
So, yes. What are you studying? What is she teaching you right now?
Oh, that is a good question. Let's go with divination.
Okay. All right. 1 second here. I gotta cross-reference my notes, so I gotta make sure I know what's going on. Oh, actually, this works perfectly. This works perfectly.
Uh-huh.
She's trying to teach you to detect magical signatures. Like she's trying to just kind of like like a more of a like it's not something precision. It's just like kind of like you're actually kind of like in an astral form right now. We're just gonna say for the scene.
All right.
And she's just like, all right. Sorry, that's not the voice. I'll eventually get into the voice properly as time goes on. As you kind of like are floating over the city. Now, look down. You see the city of Halcyon below us?
Yeah.
Now look closely at it. See all the points of light.
All right.
Each of those spark things is a spark of magical potential within every soul. Like a starry sky, it's like the Milky Way and the starry sky. And you see, and you're like, but she kind of points out to a glowing eye. Some sparks glow overwhelmingly bright and drown out others around them, where others are so dim they are to be barely noticed. Knowing where the glow and flow of magical potential is key to finding and fighting your adversaries. Both your personal ones and the ones you inherited from your bloodline.
I mean, it's not much good if you can't tell one of them from the other. How do you determine which little dot's the one you're looking for?
Be patient, little grasshopper. You'll figure it out. You'll figure that out soon enough. The point here, though, is the dots get lost inside the massive glow. If someone has powerful magic but not overwhelming, the best place for them to hide is in the shadow of something that is blinding to look at. She kind of grabs your hand and you kind of go whooshing through one of those bright spots, and it's like you pass by what looks like to be a Japanese, like one of those Shinto shrine gates, which the area in there is just blindingly bright there.
Yeah.
And you kind of keep flying through. You just kind of see some other sights, and then she suddenly stops, like abruptly. Like she's holding on your hand, but you kind of fly forward and kind of get yanked back.
Yeah.
Kind of looking around. Something isn't right.
I'm gonna attempt to try to feel out, see if I can pick up if there's anything that I can determine with my magic skills.
Alright, go ahead. Roll to assess the situation.
Alright. Oh, it's been so long. Let me look at what I actually have to do for that.
Plus superior.
Plus superior. Okay. That is a 9.
Alright. Ask 1. What here can I use to blank? What here is the biggest threat? What here is in the greatest danger? Who here is most vulnerable to me? We'll skip the last two because those aren't really applicable to the situation.
Yeah, I guess what here is the biggest threat?
Okay. As you kind of look around and such, and you kind of feel out, it's like you feel a familiar darkness around, and that's when you start realizing what, like you actually no, you don't realize that because you didn't pick that question. You feel it's the taint, it's demonic power. You feel not like actively present here, but like it's lingering taint, like something. Like you're in this kind of, like you're in like a seedy part of town right now,
Mm-hmm.
and you just feel this taint, like something has come through here, and you just, as you kind of probe into it, you feel like, or like something was clawing, grabbing it, pulling at things out here.
Yeah, I think feeling this Blackbird's just going to like kind of grit his teeth and go, demon.
And as you kind of like, you feel the spectral hand of your aunt on your shoulder. You're missing part of the picture. It's not just what is, but what isn't. The city is filled with the sparks of light. Some brighter, some dimmer. Look around you. Look at all the lights here. They're all dim. There isn't a single spark in this area brighter than a flickering candle. Where did all those with any type of gift go?
Huh. You don't think that demon could take magic?
Demons are largely a lazy lot. Why do something themselves when they can convince a mortal to do it for them?
All right.
She says, you feel her gaze digging into you a little bit too harshly on that last little bit there.
Mm-hmm. All right. So
You
we're
feel
looking
called
for a
out.
mortal- Yeah, I do. I was gonna say, is that a label shift or just I feel called out?
I think here. Yeah, actually, yeah, that is going to be a level shift. She's shifting your superior down because she's calling you a fool,
Mm-hmm.
and your danger up.
I think I will take this.
guys are just such complacent teenagers.
I know, we need to rebel a little bit more. Come on.
Yeesh, you guys just
Well,
always
we'll probably
accepting
get to
what
that with
adults
some of
have to
the
say
other
about you. It's just like, come on, live the teenage experience here a little.
I
For
kept
yourselves.
I kept
To be
trying
fair,
to
yeah.
trying to
Really
fight,
don't
and
get
that's
to
how
it.
I kept getting slapped with conditions.
Yeah, so
Well, I mean, right now I'm just kind of in like, okay, she knows better right now. She probably's done something like this before, so listen to her.
I mean, especially when you're asking for help, you don't often rebel if it's not something that's like within your character.
well, I
Yeah.
mean, you can have you can still rebel against like, I'm not what you say I am.
Mm-hmm.
But yes, anyways, but I'm not saying necessarily in this case or whatever, but just kind of like he kind of like holds up things and just like a light comes out. She conjures forth a light, and it is like blinding to you, Tyson. Like you can't even stand to look at it. And she kind of just you hear her whispering in something that just you can't understand or hear properly. Like you're aware there are words, but you can't. Your brain just doesn't seem to able to hold on to them or anything. And the little light kind of just flies around and just kind of like flits away, and there's just a silence that just lasts just long enough for you to try to say something before the little light returns.
Yeah. Sorry about that. My internet hicked up a little. So I missed what you said, like for a minute, I think.
Yeah, basically she called forth a light that was so bright that you could not stand to look at it. She whispered in words that your brain could not hold on to, and then sent it off. And it took precisely as long enough for you to an awkward silence that lasted precisely long enough for you to try to say something before it returned.
Okay.
Cliff Notes version.
All right.
And she kind of like listens to it. It's like she kind of like whispers something back to it, and it kind of pops out of. It just kind of just vanishes. It's worse than I
So
thought.
you're gonna explain? Oh.
There is no dead here. There are none, not more than normal for an area of the squalor. But whatever happened to the greater sparks? They weren't killed. I believe this
So
is
they were
enough of a
taken
lesson
somewhere.
for one day. I have much to look into. You have your studies to attend to yourself.
All right.
We jump now. That's the end of Blackbird's little scene.
Okay.
And also, by the way, just so FYI, Fatebreakers is the actual team is basically temporarily disbanded until this whole thing resolves out. Like it's just I mean, technically, Styx still is on the books, but like I don't think everyone's going to go over and jump to the River Styx.
Yeah.
Well, we want to hop on the ferry.
You can't afford his fee.
Oh,
You don't carry around
Yeah,
Greek.
you
don't carry around Greek currency with you. I'm sorry.
Yeah, you don't have drachmas.
I was gonna say an old duel, or however you pronounce that word.
well, would Hershey Kisses be an acceptable substitute?
No,
I don't think you want to kiss Chiron.
no.
I said Hershey Kisses.
Oh, Hershey kisses. Okay.
Yeah.
Slightly less, but still no.
Yeah, I don't think the skeleton guy would like to eat.
All right, Artemis.
Yes.
You are standing before Zeus, and this is one of those times where you realize that it's just like, because he doesn't show up around you in like he's usually communicating remotely for you. He doesn't seem to. He is part of his whole little teach you guy, let you learn on your own, and by pitting yourselves, like, putting the two of you against each other, kind of thing. He kind of was hands off, but you forget how big kind of he is. Like, not like freakishly tall big or freakishly muscular big. Like, he just like he has presence in the room, and he just kind of seems to fill it up. He just at some level he just kind of commands attention. In a way that you don't always remember, because it does not translate into amulet well.
Yes.
You are a disappointment.
Oh, no softballs there.
No.
I'm the disappointment.
Yes. You have lagged behind your brother in every perceivable way.
I'm not the one who got taken over until I got stuck as a stag for the rest of the concert.
He was just stagging at that concert.
Your word actually does just land a little blow. It leaves Zeus temporarily staggered.
That was terrible.
That's horrible.
That was terrible.
God.
I mean, it really wasn't, but that was terrible. For shame. How dare you?
Okay. Sorry, gotta get back into condescending Zeus mode.
Yes.
Right, yeah, so...
Gotta go back to the douche mode.
Where's the lie?
Which may or may not include puns.
It will not include puns.
Guys, just
This.
stop interjecting here. I'm trying to get...
It's
trying
not
to focus.
Poseidon we're talking about.
Yes.
Poseidon can have the puns.
Yes. He showed it. He did not think... Yes, he is known for his... Look, we all know that... This is more the player than the thing is. Yes, but he is still a himbo, so...
Himbo? What's a himbo?
He's not a himbo. He's too much of a douchebag to be a himbo, really.
He's also too much of an idiot.
No, himbos need to be idiots.
You're right, you're right.
Yes,
Think-
himbos are required.
It's
to be
about
idiots.
not being douche, but himbos also aren't douchebags. So.
Yeah.
Well,
They
I
are.
think Kronk
Okay,
is a himbo.
good point.
this is just from Zeus' point of view, though. So, he probably doesn't think, oh, he's not a douchebag at all. He doesn't do half the things I do.
It's Zeus.
Not me, like...
God.
They
Answer
are big, kind idiots.
So yes. Also pretty looking.
Yes.
Like, that's,
He's very pretty.
yes.
Pato is very pretty.
Son.
Yes. Look. But still, he has at least fully awakened his power.
And you're saying I haven't?
No, you have not. You are capable of more than just merely transforming a crowd of unruly concert goers into a flock of rabbits.
To be fair, Kitty really enjoyed all the rabbits.
Yes. I can also shoot with perfect aim.
There is more to it than just turning your gifts extend far more than just turning people who inconvenience you into animals and shooting well enough with a bow. Disney pulled it off with Robin Hood.
Wow.
I think Disney was going to be a part of this.
Don't get me started on things that Disney has screwed up on. That's in character, by the way.
Oh, I know, no. I think they did fairly well. I think they did a fairly decent portrayal.
Ha!
Oh.
this universe tells this.
I will.
They make you look like a good guy and make Uncle Hades look like an asshole.
He's a stick in the mud. Why we gave him domain over the underworld and the underground.
I'm half expecting him to point out that the Hades from Hercules is too interesting to be a good interpretation of the stick in the mud.
No.
Yeah, that's the most charming character in the movie.
Exactly.
I couldn't tell you a single thing Hercules says, but I could tell you like half a dozen things Hades says.
He's charming.
Either way, I acknowledge there is some fault on this on my part. Shouldn't have separated the two of you. Clearly, leaving you to team up with mortals has left you developmentally behind.
So what? You're saying you should have just sent us out and had us go all Hunger Games on each other?
He kind of contemplates that, like, dang it, that would have been a good idea.
Hey, I should join a God's Hunger Games.
I'm pretty sure Zeus is just like, I just had a marvelous idea. All of the gods and the Hunger Games.
No, he thinks like, oh, I should have done that. It was more like, dang it, that's what I should have done with these two. No.
Create a Hunger Games of all
I
Zeus's
should have
children.
personally oversaw both of your training. Now, you have shown some initiative by going under my brother, under your uncle's tutelage. The worst brother.
Oh, so that's the problem. That I haven't surrounded myself with other gods.
That is the source of the problem, but still the fact is, you are incapable. You are unable to fully harness your divinity.
Maybe I don't want to harness my divinity.
See? That's why. That's the problem there. You've got your brain has gone all mortal.
Well, I am mortal. And so was Spiros until you brainwashed him.
We did not brainwash him.
Oh, really? Because my brother was not a complete and total asshole before you showed up.
He is the nicest one out of my children. There's a lot of them, and that's saying something.
Wow.
Suffice to say, due to your incomplete training, you will not be part of. You will be not taking part of the ceremony. Not ceremony. That's not the word. That's not the word I want to say. What is the word? How do I want to phrase this? How does Zeus phrase this?
The solstice?
Sure, let's go with that. You will not be participating in you'll not be participating in our solstice activities.
Great. I'm gonna miss Hera burning you when you show up with another mortal woman.
I am not showing up with a mortal woman this time. And just to give you an idea of what you are missing, this one was being catered by Dionysus.
Ray knows what I'm thinking.
I know exactly what you're thinking.
My baby.
This entertains me.
I know, me too.
So much.
No one else knows.
Explanations later.
We'll explain
Explanations
later. We'll
later.
explain later.
Okay, I apparently said something that was
just for context.
No, this is great.
SW?
It's great. It's perfect.
You know what? I'll give a brief context.
yes, please.
Dionysus's totem is owned by one of my characters
Yeah.
Okay.
that we created for an RP that we're doing.
Okay. I kind of suspected that when you said only the two of you know. Okay.
Well, you said Dionysus, and my brain's like, my baby boy is living up to his dream. I mean, Dionysus is considered the god who was twice reborn, so.
Alright, anyways.
Moving on.
Yes.
Zeus, that's I think we're gonna end the scene.
Okay.
It's just like Zeus going off and you just kind of slumping down in like death glare, teenage death glare kind of thing.
Yeah. I mean, I obviously don't fully care.
Yeah.
Because
I mean,
this is a god event. It's a god event. Like, I don't like attending other events with my quote-unquote family.
Oh, I think you'd care just a little bit because Dionysus is the one hosting.
Also,
yeah.
Also, there is. I should also say there is a label shift going on there. Superior down, mundane up.
She might be a little disappointed missing out on a possible reunion with one of her boyfriends.
Here.
Label shift.
Yes.
With that conversation, your superior is being shifted down.
Superior down.
Mundane up.
Mundane up.
You can choose to reject it or whatever, but...
No, I'll accept that.
You're like, I want to be mundane. Screw you, Dad.
Exactly.
Also, team reset.
You told me I'm mundane, but what did you know? I wanted to be.
Superior down and mundane up. There we go. My mundane isn't 0 anymore. Yay!
You are the violent savior.
I don't have anything at 0 anymore.
Woot woot.
You do have one big negative in savior, though. You aren't saving anyone.
I do.
All right.
Womp womp.
All right, Regalia. Finally, we make it down to you. Where are you? Like, you haven't. Artemis has been unavailable, so you haven't had a chance to confront her yet.
Oh dear.
Sure, I guess she just left, and I'm like, yeah, all right. At the end of the last thing.
Yeah.
And I think it's like my character's still been living at Forge's compound, I guess.
It's been very weird there. Like you've probably been trying. I think you've been mostly just kind of sleeping there, and you're trying to not be there because it is crawling with various people who keep questioning you with very arbitrary things. Like, however, like it's more. I think if you just, I would imagine you just more find it annoying than anything like threatening or anything. It's just like, okay, let's just get out of here until this blows over for a little bit, kind of thing. But you're back in the library getting some more books.
Yay, books! More books.
You're actually between the shelves, like you're just kind of like picking up stuff. What book do you grab just as the scene opens? What book are you grabbing?
I'm gonna buy a book about. Borrow a book about.
Fashion, a comedy.
Sure. Actually, let's go back to another historical book about wear. Always go back to the comforts.
Yeah.
Wasn't the last one about business?
Yeah, the last one was about business, but that one wasn't comforting. It's comforting to read about clothes. He's a clothing wizard.
Not a business wizard. He doesn't
Yeah,
cast
exactly.
magic stocks.
That's my uncle.
My stock magic, yes.
Obviously.
And not to be confused with magic stocks, the spell in the school of imprisomancy.
Yeah.
Really?
Read the best-selling book,
Hey,
The Sorcery of the Deal.
Really obscure magic here.
The spell of war.
All right.
Turns out businessmancer is just a fancy way to say I brain control lots of people. I have lots of hypnosis and mind control spells.
Yeah, Yes. As you kind of set that book on top of your stack, someone sets another. Like you're just. What's carrying your stack? Do you have something like levitating, holding it up, kind of for you, or are you carrying it like in your hands?
Yeah, it could be. It could be. Probably without thinking about it, it just puts it in like a bag. And like there's more space in the bag than there should be, so it's just more.
There's a pen. You see someone else put another book on top of it as you put it in. A book on Greek mythology. And you look to see who look who to put there, and you see
True.
Medusa.
Oh. Hello.
Hey.
Hi.
I'm sorry about what happened last week. It was like I had no idea any of that was going to happen. I just really did not want.
No, that is. I'm fine with that. I'm happy being there. That wasn't what I was worried about.
What were you? What are you worried about?
I was worried about that I was in someone's seat.
I told you that was my ticket, and I really did not want to go.
But they expected somebody else. Unless you have another name. It seemed like they were not. They didn't expect it, and I have actually seen you quite a few times sneaking around.
You've been around her. Artemis. Thea.
Who? Oh, think so, yes.
You've noticed sometimes she's like normal person, and then suddenly she can kind of flip a switch and go, "God am I!"
Yes, I've seen that some of the time.
Those totems. The god template that gets stamped on to them. It's subtle. It's insidious. You don't usually notice what's going on. It just kind of gives this storybook version of what the god was in the myths and legends, and it just overwrites you.
What is this totem?
Artemis is a totem that Thea holds. That Thea is cursed with. My curse. I'm cursed with Athena.
That was who they said. So you are
No, I am not
the
her.
person who.
She inhabits my body, but I'm not her. Yeah,
Sure. Yes, I see.
He's a bitch. I got lucky. See, Athena's the goddess of wisdom. And thankfully I got the wisdom before I got the full god nutso thing. And I was able to notice what was going on with me. And every Athena is doomed to curse a Medusa. Person whose eyes are to turn whose visage is to turn those who gaze upon it to stone.
Oh, is that what the
Yes.
is that what the goggles are?
Yes. That's the whole reason for the sunglasses, the goggles. Not blind.
I mean, you didn't look like you were blind. You
No.
definitely looked at things.
Yeah, I know. A lot of people jump to that conclusion. A lot of people.
Mm.
But the problem, the problem, and that let me exist separately from her to a point. See,
So she's not you. As in you here.
no, like,
But she is you, as in metaphysically, she is also you.
yeah, she's like my basic personality, heavily overwritten to fit the stories. Do I look like I'm a person who could turn a woman into a spider because she beat me in weaving?
I'm so glad you brought Arachne into this.
I would not assume that of most people.
Goddesses have problems.
Hey, you stole my blanket.
God!
But okay,
On my blanket.
You know, I noticed the goddesses have this issue more than the gods do.
No, the gods'
god-
issues is boning.
Yeah.
That's why
the god's
Spiros
issue-
is so gung
The
ho
god's
about
issue
having
is
a
running
harem.
people over, and is just simply running people over, and the goddess's issue is,
You're better
not
than
stereotypical
me.
for women
You're
at
more
all.
beautiful than me.
But look,
Definitely not a bunch of sexist stereotypes in ancient Greece.
So the problem is though, is like I can usually exist by myself a lot during the night and sometimes during other things like this. But the problem is the second any of the other totems gets near me, Athena comes out to play.
Okay, so it is a circumstance of physically Athena takes over.
I mean, it's not like we change appearance really. I just my hair does.
Well, takes over your physical body.
Yeah,
I mean, I don't mean.
It's...
I'm trying to understand if there are two people walking around, or if you are, if you are. It's
It's. I lose control and she takes over.
Okay. So it's like what Artemis did at the concert.
Yeah.
She started yelling, and there was all the cursing of the gods, and not being as helpful in a fight, that kind of thing.
Yeah. And trust me, I take it you met Spiros, or sorry, as he goes by, Apollo.
It's true.
Apollo.
Like he was
the one who seemed to expect another person in the seat.
Yeah, he was not. He was very different before that Apollo took over him. But
is Athena the kind of person to throw someone out without saying anything when they don't have anywhere to stay or in another universe? Is that an Athena thing? Are we blaming this on Athena? Not Athena. I'm sorry, Artemis thing. Is that an Artemis thing?
I like saying you're trying to be subtle in the least subtle way.
I know I said the wrong one.
I know you said the wrong one, but I kind of like it with the wrong one more than the right one. But it's up to you. It's like you're trying to say, like, I had a friend.
No. I was trying to say Artemis. I'm sorry.
I mean, you didn't get turned into like some sort of woodland creature and then hunted to your death, right?
No.
Then no.
Okay.
Blackbird raises his hand.
I'm not sure. I'm not sure.
My
I'm not sure if
ears
I
are
feel
burning.
good about that, but I feel. Is this something I need to be coy about around Apollo and the like?
Well, everyone, as far as I'm aware, is fully gone, except for Thea. But I can't get near her.
Because of the whole thing.
Yeah,
where
because
people get taken over.
Yeah, because unfortunately, even though hers isn't fully subsuming her, it's still enough to cause me to fade away. That's why I've been trying to get Athena into trouble. Maybe it's in some way that is I like, no, you're the worst Athena ever, and just strip it out of me. And mixed, not really any successful results there.
Yes, I don't know what this. Did someone place the totems in, or is there some other force at play here?
I have no idea. Fortunately, I'm a piece in this stupid game.
Well, that's how. That's how a lot of these things go. Not everything is fair, and the power and magical powers operate on their own very frequently. It's not like your so-called human technology.
He just looks at you like, wait, you're not human?
Yes, but Earthling technology. It's not like your Earthling technology. It always takes a life of its own. There is no time it does not.
Well, if things go their way, it's about to take an even bigger turn of its own. They're doing something. They're gathering all the realized totems. Everyone.
Okay.
Look, I don't know where it is going, because unfortunately I only have hazy half recollections of what happens when Athena's out. But there's something big going on. And Thea I think Thea's the only one who can... Thea and you guys are probably the only people I know that can do anything about it. I mean, you see what Apollo's like, what Athena's like. Well, actually, did you? No, wait, you didn't meet her. You didn't meet.
No, I did not meet Athena.
Well, Apollo is a good enough example. Why did it ever? Have you ever asked the question? Why are these dickwads trying to be the hero?
I hadn't thought of it.
And what?
A lot of the heroes I've met are a little
I mean,
I would have expected a more principled bunch, but
You would have expected a more principled cat?
yes.
Yes.
But
not that everyone is like that. Let's not do that. But I thought that just every once in a while you have someone who has dreams of a certain thing, even if their temperament isn't 100% match.
Well, whatever they're doing is probably going to get rid of whatever's holding them back. They're afraid of something, and that's why they play by the rules. What happens when they're no longer afraid?
The food is not for you, Kitty.
Look, she hands you an envelope. Give this to Thea. I can't trust anyone else. Least of all myself.
Well, if you walk next to her, yeah, you see that. No, Regalia frowns. Actually, it's a visible frown. Like I've been emoting this, but it's...
Yeah.
This means I have to talk to talk to her. Should I call her Thea? I don't know.
I mean, it might help. Just because stories are powerful things, and the more people put faith into them, even just by the faith that they are that person in the story, the harder they are, the stronger they get.
Okay. Yes. Loss of individual identity. I see. Well, this is definitely some very difficult subject matter, although it puts a different fear of mine to rest.
And that, what was that?
That you stole that you stole the ticket.
No, I mean, I've stolen a few things, but mostly like trying to get Athena trouble for it.
With the same, trying to get her in trouble, hoping that someone can strip the totems.
Yeah. Honestly, I did give you that ticket. Just besides not wanting to go, I thought you could do with having a good time.
Thank you. I did have a good time. Well.
There's kind of, I do want to say there's like this awkward moment that's kind of like tension is kind of just building, like, and then she just like she gives you a quick kiss, and then starts scurrying off.
Wait. One. You said I wanted to wait until she tried to leave to say this.
Yeah.
Wait. So, Artemis, you had said Spiros and Apollo, and Artemis and Athena, and you have two names, but you have a third name, right? From before all of this. What's your name?
Our peers who have been working on the past version of this, what was it the name again?
Grace.
All right. Well, I'll deliver this, and I'll see you later, Grace.
Hope so. And she kind of just leaves the area, and there's a few people like kind of looking around the bookcase as she leaves, and like, what in the world was going on in there? Because this was in a library. Why are you guys so loud?
It's supposed to be quiet in a library. Remember?
I don't know. Apparently, modern libraries are actually a little bit louder now. Instead of, they're places where people meet for groups as well, educational things, not just the place where people read.
Yeah, I know. It was still like, that's why people weren't shushing you. They're just kind of like, what in the world is going on in there?
What the fuck?
Right. So, also Regalia gets the book, and then tries to find the section with more of the books, and puts away the books that he was sort of idly checking out for research.
All right. So let's skip forward to let's carry this momentum forward with Regalia, who just left the building.
Regalia has left the building.
Regalia has left the building, both metaphorically and physically.
So I was in.
I guess I'd hit mute because I've been trying to talk. No, I'm here. I'm here.
You did hit mute. That's how come I knew you said you were left the building, because I saw the little red light go up on your screen.
See, I thought it's because I got up, and I'm just like, no, I'm here. I'm just wandering around a little bit. No. And then I muted myself, which is the real worst part. The other worst part is that I turned you down on my fader briefly.
Oh dear.
But yes, so.
But then there was a worst part.
Oh no.
I mean, that was it. It's already over.
Oh, okay. I thought there was like a third word.
No.
But yes. I want to say this takes place in the place where you usually you find Artemis in her temple. It is the easiest place to think. And also I like the arc, the symbolic, the thing of like you coming back here to where the things began, kind of thing.
She doesn't answer knocks, but he knocks anyway. Maybe she'll answer.
Yeah.
You hear a knock on your temple door.
I just sigh and open the door.
You see Regalia. What do you do?
What are you doing here?
I have something for you.
What?
Business.
Business for me. Okay.
There's the letter. I have this from damn it, I know too many names for her. Grace. It's from Grace.
How do you know that name?
Well, I asked Medusa what her name was when she gave me the letter, and explained what the totems are and the whole rigmarole.
Sorry, I know you didn't mean it, but I just gotta tell Martha a moment. How did you know that name?
How did you know that name? Obviously,
Sure. Well, I asked her when we did the whole thing. Anyway, she is suspicious of some kind of gathering of the totems. Them totems. And a terrible thing that could happen at that time. And also that you should take this.
Okay. So you're trying to say Grace is still out there?
I mean...
That she's not completely taken over by Athena?
Yes, she explained... yes, that's... Regalia kind of has this, like, the moment you see when he's, like, figuring something out, he's like, yeah. Yes. She says that Athena always takes over whenever there's another totem nearby.
Convenient.
And that this brings out the worst. And that the rest of the time she can, she calls herself Medusa.
Huh.
So, I'm going to give you just a little background here. Like, this is kind of a bit of it, somewhat retcon than we're in, because some of these elements, like, change stuff up as we went along. Athena has been trying to track down the Medusa as, like, she keeps, like, trying to steal stuff and trying to, like, it's been more of, like, her little nemesis kind of thing. Because obviously
Does she
the story...
realize that Medusa is actually just her?
What?
Does Athena realize that Medusa is actually just her? She's trying to find her.
Yeah.
Ha 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 ha! I'm sure that's pissing her
I
off.
love this. This is great.
What a goddess of wisdom.
You actually didn't know that Medusa was Athena either.
Yeah.
So I'm just saying, like...
Yeah.
So I'm just saying that Athena's been trying to find the identity of the Medusa who keeps stealing things. It's like a Batman Catwoman, but they never actually...
Okay, good moment here. Yeah.
A Batman Catwoman, except it's the same person.
So
the
you are trying to tell me that the person that Athena has been driving herself insane looking for has been her the entire time?
Apparently.
Oh, I hope I can see her face when she finds this out.
Do you not like Grace?
No. I like Grace. I like Grace just
You
fine.
don't like Grace? No.
No, I like her just fine. We're friends. We've been friends for a long time. You know, before my brother just lost his mind.
Mm-hmm.
She had a huge crush on my brother. And they were really close. But, of course, Spiros didn't notice anything. Besides the point. That's besides the point.
I'm loving this so much right now.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, continue.
Yes. That's beside the point. But Athena has been driving herself insane for as long as I can remember looking for this Medusa. And this entire time, she's been right under her nose. Wow.
That sounds about what is going on.
I wonder if any of the others know that. Oh!
I mean, it sounds like the Athena personality takes over every time. So I suppose unless they were using like maybe watching footage from a camera, that doesn't count, right? Unless it does count, and the metaphysical connection would be made even then.
Well, first of all, I'm gonna have to get a hold of someone that actually knows Grace, who isn't a totem.
Sure.
I gotta bring Aspen into this.
All right.
So, question here for Thea and Aspen here.
Yeah.
Have you guys been in communication at all during this whole Forge thing, or have you guys been kind of dealing with your own problems?
I think they have been in communication.
Yeah, because
You know,
I was just
well, Aspen probably does rant to Inferno. She probably doesn't want to bother him too much because he's
and
got
I'm
his
sure
own
Thea kind of
Yeah.
put her issues with Forge behind her instead of being like, "See, I told you he was a problem." She kind of put that behind her to be there for her friend.
Okay. Yeah, I was just kind of wanting to get a gauge on your current, whether this is like bringing you guys back together or if you've been together since the feedback scenario.
And basically, Thea's thought process here is to bring in someone that she knows Grace trusts, who around her she won't suddenly turn into Athena.
Mm-hmm.
Like that's her whole idea of bringing in Aspen for this.
Okay. So actually, we're gonna cut over to. I'm gonna give you this little scene here. It's like you're trying all the different routes. You're trying to figure out some angle that Forge hasn't covered in his
princess.
in his
Yeah, which I imagine is involving some hacking on her part.
Yeah.
She's trying to deep dive into some of his files that he has geared away.
So,
How am I doing?
well, let's find it out. Roll to unleash your powers here.
Cool.
Hacking
That
is a
was
power.
Roll. Yeah. Roll. Unleash your powers was a roll plus.
Freak.
Freak. Okay. Oh! Dog, move. Help if my dice are already out. Eight.
All right. Either a marking condition, or I will tell you how the effect is unstable or temporary.
Unstable or temporary.
Okay, so you were gonna. It's eventually you kind of like you try things and you realize, wait, Forge had to take. Forge specifically, like one of the things you have from the footage is he took a vehicle, and a vehicle which like even if you're not actively using it, still connects to the GPS navigation stuff. So you could probably get a program running on it to reconstruct the routes. But here's the trick: it's going to take time.
Okay. Fun. Get to go figure out the car. Yeah, so she'd probably head down to wherever the car is, and
Yeah, you like you got it loading. You start running, and it's like your phone starts ringing.
well, it snaps her awake for a minute. But she does grab the phone and say hello.
Okay.
Hello?
Yeah, it's me on the other end. Yeah. Aspen,
Hey Theo, what's going on?
I found Grace.
What? Where?
Regalia's on the back. You hear probably hear Regalia in the background.
I found Grace. I found Grace.
Just completely was Regalia.
Regalia. So wait. Hold up. Rewind. Where's Grace?
Athena.
Oh, Regalia doesn't actually know where she is, though.
Yeah.
What?
She's Athena.
When? How?
Okay, apparently she's been talking to Regalia. I guess there's this whole thing with Medusa.
Put this on speaker, let him explain.
Okay, fine. There, you're on speaker.
Hello?
Hey Regalia, what's going on?
Hi.
I heard you found our old friend.
I suppose so. I suppose it makes sense that she knows a lot of you, I guess.
Long story. Where did you meet her?
In the library. And she was sneaking around Thea's temple once.
Why do I feel like this makes way too much sense for her? Did she tell you where she was heading off to? I take that as a no.
No.
Mm.
I mean, do you know where Athena lives? It would be the same place. She's just not Athena when there are no other totems around.
Yeah, I know where Athena's temple is, but I don't typically go there because Athena and I are not on good terms.
Well, if there are no other totems nearby, it won't be Athena.
Really?
That's how it was explained to me. Is Athena takes over when the other totems are nearby, and when it does not, she is Medusa,
Weird.
who thinks that this whole thing is terrible and wants to disqualify herself from being Athena by stealing things, so that they take the power away. But that probably wouldn't work unless somebody distinctly placed the power to begin with, which is not necessarily true.
Okay, so I'm guessing that you two called me for a reason? Thea?
Yeah. Okay.
And that reason is?
Look, I can't go anywhere near her, because then she's just going to be Athena, and I think you know how well me and Athena get along.
You know how well Athena and I get along. Never mind. Yeah, I know.
Well, you know,
I don't think we've opened the note.
Aspen's like, wait, no, what note?
She wrote a note for Thea.
If that's not open, open it. Are you gonna open it?
Okay, I'll open it. Alright, I open up the note.
I like how this took a very interesting turn.
Well, Regalia is just like, we don't even have all the information we know. Let's finish gathering
Let's figure this out. I love
Then we can make plans.
You see, like a crudely drawn inside is a crudely drawn map. They put let's put the summer solstice, and because we are horribly inconsistent about what time of year it is.
Yeah.
It says summer solstice, midnight, and there's a support circle, and it says Grandpa/Dad? Question mark.
Question mark. So, Zeus? that's what Artemis is kind of asking herself right now, because she doesn't really understand where the grandpa part comes from. But
hold on,
Dad,
what did the note say? Hold on,
It was
like
a crudely drawn
It was a
map.
map.
It said summer solstice, midnight, and it's there's a part circled, and it says with an arrow kind of pointing at that with words that say grandpa/dad ?
Oh yes. I suppose it's important. I suppose this is important, and you might get a while to get to it. She said that it was important that what do they call it? She said that that you're gathering all the totems and something was going to happen. I believe she believed it was removing the rest of their resistance from the mortal life, whatever allows them to resist the influence of the god complexes.
what?
Doesn't your family get together like every 3 months?
Yes.
Well, she seemed she seemed to believe it was this time was special.
Hmm.
I mean, we get together for every solstice period ever. And every-
Solstice/equinox.
Solstice/equinox, yes. I mean, we get together for every solstice, every equinox, everything. Ugh.
All of the holidays.
Every random Greek holiday in existence.
I mean, if you've got Dionysus hosting the thing, you know it's gonna be.
And don't get me started on when there's a wedding.
Anyway,
Because a
so
wedding traditionally leads to another wedding.
or other things, but that's used.
Other
Anyway,
things, which will eventually do a wedding, which will lead to another wedding and another wedding.
Brain. So, what are we doing about this? Do you
Well-
want me to go find her and see what I can get out of her?
You find her. Despite the fact that my father grounded me, I need to get myself to that celebration.
Well,
Talk to your brother.
She did say that she believed that because you were not entirely taken over, that you could do something about it. I suppose that.
Although, if you want in on that party, all I have to do is talk to Spiros.
Yeah, he'd probably be willing to sneak me in if I come with
And
wine.
if he says no to you, you know he won't say no to me.
Perfect.
Just saying. And she's got kind of a, not that anyone can see it, but she's got kind of a, oh my god, I don't want to do that face.
Well, perfect. I mean, chances are he'll probably say no to me, but, you know, if I use you to my advantage, then we can pretty much get him to do anything.
Of course we can. Anyway, well, I was in the middle of something, but this seems more important right now. So I guess I'll hop over to Athena's temple and see what I can find.
Alright.
Okay.
And if it all fails, if contacted through Spiros, Dio's basically throwing the party this year, so.
Yeah,
We have
He is.
a map.
We do have a map. We do have a map. Alright, let's take this one step at a time, though. I'll go find Grace. I guess you figure out how to get into that party.
I'll talk to Dio and Spiros.
Okay.
Well, if Spiros won't get you in, Anders certainly will.
Mm-hmm.
So let's try to get the spotlight on the rest of the group here, because I feel like we got
some... Sorry!
Plot developments in the case of, on that end.
Unfortunately, though, I feel like the most obvious connection here is Inferno going to talk to Regalia.
Oh.
Cutie's gonna.
Okay.
Cutie's actually. You know what?
That's fun.
Granted, depending on Inferno's mood, he might call Cutie too.
Actually, yeah. Call Cutie.
It's cute. Telling me why. I'm sorry, it's cute.
It is cute.
I'm not sorry.
So, like, And okay, Blackbird, give me a reason for why you want to do something with try to get a hold of Cutie. I want to bring you together. I just figure instead of trying to force something on you, just give me a reason.
Well, I guess being the other kind, quote unquote, magical person there, you could probably use the magical girl's help in locating any sources of magic and such.
Oh, here's why. I can kind of twist that. Like, besides locating, Cutie is of the three magic users in this group, Cutie is probably the best defensive magical user.
That's true, yeah. And if people are like getting targeted for magic, then like having the like defensive one probably would help.
Yep. So
that makes sense.
Yep. So we'll start off. We're gonna start focusing on Inferno because I feel like that's the one that we gotta have a little more momentum with, and then we can kind of pull you in to that. So how Inferno? I assume you guys you try calling Cutie.
Yeah.
Because I don't think because none of you guys know where Cutie actually is because Janice.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, keep in mind.
I know who he is now. I just don't think I know. I know where he lives.
Yeah, that's kind of what I was going for there. So you're Cutie in the Dante in the midst of your angst pit. Your phone starts ringing.
I'm definitely. Do I see it's Inferno specifically?
What ringtone do you have set for Inferno?
God, I'm trying to think of something.
Burn,
edgy.
baby, burn!
Making the obvious joke. That's disco. For Dante specifically, he probably has ringtone set for.
Oh, it's Dragon Force to the Fire and Flames.
Oh, you know what? Okay, that works. That works. I'm trying to think of stuff that's more within line of a goth type personality to have set as ringtone. Well, Cutie might have totally different setups, but keep in mind since he's in Dante mode, it would be really awkward and embarrassing to all of a sudden have some cutesy little J-pop number play from his phone or whatever.
I was gonna say Everything Burn. I think that was a song that was pretty edgy a while back.
Alright.
I feel like that would be more for Ember.
To be fair, they probably are very different ringtones for what he used to have for Emily, which also probably what he hears is makes him a little annoyed.
Cutie has a type!
Annoyed over his jumping. But he, he reaches over his,
I'm sorry, I just realized that Cutie has a type.
Wait, I missed something.
I like people fiery.
Apparently, yes.
Fire users.
Yep.
I'm sorry, I just suddenly, it's one of those things that's like, why didn't I realize this before?
I know, right?
Because we were too focused on how cute it was.
Maybe because it took how many sessions to hit the Dante's Inferno?
It's like this is a ship that just I did not see coming kind of thing, but it's just one of the things that kind of got started going, and it's like, oh, this is cool. This is play to see what happens, and this is in its purest form. It's you get these cool moments that you never expect. Yes, so right, ringtone is playing.
Sometimes relationships happen naturally.
Yep, that ringtone starts playing, and you know who it is.
I am definitely I imagine it's similar to the one I have set for Ember, so my hope gets sparked up for a moment, so I reach over, and then I notice it's Inferno, and I kind of let out a. Hello.
Yeah. Hi.
What's up? Something major?
No, I think I might have made a stupid mistake.
Oh.
Yeah. It's gonna take a lot to explain it.
Well, I guess if is it something you need me for?
Yeah, only if you want to listen.
All right. I try to sit up and I'm attempting to be a good person here, but I imagine behind the screen, I'm well, let me know what's going on.
Yeah, I had a mask.
This all of a sudden gets my ears perked up. I'm like, wait, you mean one of those masks?
You quickly pushed
From
down
the-
the cat ears that it started manifesting unintentionally.
Yeah, on the inside, Cutie Carbuncle's ears, cat ears perk up.
Yeah.
Wait, you mean one of those masks from the heist and everything? Couple weeks, the whole follow up thing.
Yeah.
Aren't those kind of dangerous? We should probably warn the others about it as well.
It's gone.
I guess they're dealing with other stuff. Hold on. Would it be easier to talk about this face to face?
Probably would.
All right. I'll meet you at
Just say a park.
meet at the old base or whatever.
Old Bay Park.
Old Day Tart. Oh, okay. What? That.
Well, yeah, because
Seriously.
I figure the old base is either Artemis's temple, which I want to give you guys some solo time here, not
No,
tangle you up
I'm
with,
just trying to figure out a general place where we can meet up that would
Yeah.
not be too
like parks.
inconspicuous.
Yeah, parks are fine. Old Bay Park is not necessarily a good park, a park in the good side of town, so it's not really like something that people pay too close attention to, kind of thing.
Not after. Okay, so yeah, I mentioned the park. I'll meet you at the park in a little bit. Do we need to get if anyone else is coming or whatever?
No, no one else is coming.
All right, I'll be there in a bit then.
Second picnic date.
Not a date.
I'm sorry, my
Are you
brain
really
is.
sure this? Are you really sure this is a good? Are you really sure this is a good idea? Rebound relationships aren't really where we should be going. Sorry.
All right,
Wow.
my Discord cut out for me, so I heard, should we get anyone else? And then laughter. So I'm like, not Blackbird?
No, it was no one else, and then the other thing was me making a joke about second picnic date.
Ah,
And Brad making a comment about about how rebound relationships are usually a good thing.
Also, I just want to.
Out, okay.
Also, I'm just gonna say my brain is picturing Dante having an internal Cutie Carbuncle singing the song from Hercules. I won't say I'm in love.
mhm.
God damn it. No.
Aw,
No,
that
no,
would
no.
be
Not
cute.
I'm not saying this is actually what's happening, or I'm not trying to
Don't
push that
say
forward.
it's not in
It's
game.
just a-
It's a headcanon.
It's just a really cute image of it, though. Like, I just picture like the two parts of him having that duet at some point in the future, like struggling with feelings like that. Like, I think that is utterly
that might be
adorable.
his favorite.
But yes.
Okay, now we have fan art of Dante strutted a purple shirt while Cutie's in a abuse helmet.
Oh.
Would be cute.
Oh God.
All right, shipping aside, cut to the.
But yes. So
For 2
Dante,
seconds.
after hanging up the phone, is going to let us outside. And be takes a moment to try to compose himself a little bit. And then realizing this is a good time then to let Cutie freeze, so he will activate, or after escaping out the window.
I was wondering about that one. So which state are you going in between? Full?
He needs to let her out, so he's going full hero mode in a moment.
Okay.
He is still practicing with the other side, but he is definitely, right now, he needs to let that side of him out to distract him from his breakup.
Okay. Yep. And, like, cut over to Blackbird, intercut to Blackbird. It's like, you're just, like, you're trying to use the technique, you're trying to figure out the technique that your aunt was showing you, trying to find Cutie, like, because it's just like, you never know where Cutie is, like, when you need them, and when you tried calling, the phone was busy.
Yeah.
Also, do you even have a phone? Well, I guess you could have just used your aunt's phone or something.
Yeah.
And now that now she's on the phone, and now you can't use it again. So you're trying to do this. Look, we justified it. We justified it. And so suddenly you're kind of thinking.
All right. Detail. Does the aunt have like one of those old rotary?
Oh yeah, it's totally one of the ones where it's like, "Hello, officer," like that kind of old school phone. No, it's older, like the one where the earpiece is separate from the voice piece.
Yeah. Well, I mean, there is always the kind of theory that magic and technology don't work well together. So, like, I can understand, like,
or maybe your aunt's just that old.
With it
yeah, that could also work.
Bit of column A, bit of column B.
When you can enchant everything with magic, it's kind of cheating.
Mm-hmm. All right, so but you suddenly you see this bright light flash up, and you're just like, oh, I know only one thing that is that magically gaudy.
Yeah.
Also, it's probably pink compared to the rest of them.
Yes. Yeah. All the other lights were like just plain white with like no tint, and suddenly there's this giant pink glow. What is your reaction to just seeing that? Beyond just like, that's Cutie.
Yeah, so other than like kind of, getting out of the thing and like kind of fixing his eyes because it's like solar flare, he's going to head out and call Quoth and say, "We're going on a hunt."
And you just cut back to the where your aunt hangs up the phone and goes like, "Where'd all this glitter come from?"
And yeah, so I will probably do my teleporting over to Cutie.
Yep. Well, I'll put a pin on you. Like, you'll show up. And it's going to take you a bit to kind of get the full trail, but we're
if the teleporting works this time.
We're going to cut over to who's waiting for who gets to the park first.
Well, I think it's partly depending on location. I thought, if anything, this was something kind of 50-50 between us, roughly, depending on where in the city the park is located.
I think, why don't we just say Cutie gets there first, because Cutie suggested it, probably knows their way over there. Whereas Inferno has to pull up Google Maps at least. There's like this, some parts of town are just like, what is even going on here? So yeah, so what? Cutie, since you said this there, what landmark did you say to meet by in this park?
Obviously a statue of the park, like a local humanitarian who helped discover the park.
Lex Luthor, okay.
The humanitarian, defender of small children and small animals.
Oh, excellent. He's a definitely golden age hero.
Yeah, definitely. So you're just kind of. How does Cutie look waiting? Is she like pacing anxiously, kind of like leaning up against the statue, kind of dozing off, or like?
I imagine she's just like, as I said, he kind of is letting her run free, but just burying himself for a little bit. So she's definitely being very rambunctious and energetic. So like,
how did you decorate the statue?
Up and down. maybe swinging from his arm.
So, like, how did you?
She found like some gum under, like someone stuck to his elbow and like picks it off. So like,
yeah, yeah. So, Inferno, that's what you see when you walk into the area of the park.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, heads over to Q. He just kind of looks at the statue.
I don't know if you're quiet or anything, or if you noticed me before I noticed you.
Is Inferno quiet, or is Inferno quite obvious in his presence? I feel like you would at least feel the heat off of Inferno before you see this. So, but it depends on how focused you are on getting that last little piece of gum that's like in between the fingers.
I mean, come on, that's super disrespectful.
So yes, Inferno does end up sneaking up on the ADD carbuncle.
Who is partly lost in thought in general, but also partly lost in thought on actually, cleaning the statue. So yeah, I feel like this would be a situation where my guard's probably down a little bit.
What do you say, Inferno?
Yeah. There might be easier ways to do that.
Oh, hi, Inferno. Like, she hops down in like a little somersault.
Glitter everywhere.
Oh, you found a mask?
It was sent to me.
How long has it been going on?
Yeah, a while.
How come you didn't bring it up before? Like, this could be important to like the whole. Well, she points at all the stuff that's been going on recently.
Yeah. This one was a bit more personal than that.
To be fair, he did talk to Regalia originally about that.
Regalia knew about it.
Okay, so at least talked a little with someone. But then why bring it up to me now?
It gave me an offer and I refused it and it destroyed itself.
What kind of offer?
It could, some of the time, turn me back.
Your old self?
Yeah.
Cutie, like sits down on the side of the statue and looks a little thoughtful. That's quite an offer, I know. Have you brought this up to Regalia or anyone else?
No, not since then.
What did you talk with Regalia about it then?
Just tried to get questions at first. I wanted it destroyed. Then it started talking to me recently.
Well, this is definitely something we have to be cautious of. But I can also get where it's a very tempting offer.
I'm not sure. I should have refused.
Everything's complicated here.
Yeah, and that's definitely triggering a playbook, your team move. Open and vulnerable.
For me or
Inferno.
I thought that was.
Yeah, it's very relevant right now. Ask them if you think you're gaining or losing humanity. So you can kind of phrase it however you want, but or if you want to, or it could be implied in this, like, either way, you just gotta have to set up QE to answer that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I don't know if I can be human like this. Can I?
I mean, I never asked. How long has it been? I know it's been, like, I would imagine at a character level, it's been approximately, like, 10 years since, like, elementary school / middle school, etc., when we knew each other originally.
Yeah.
So I would have guessed it happened after that, but from the whole dream sequence, I don't know if there was a set time frame of, like, we could tell that anything going on in that, especially with the whole avant-gardeness of it in the first place.
It's been about 4 years.
And you have to live like that every day. That's just. I mean, if it can help, but at the same time, I don't want you to end up in a situation like Blackbird got into with his demon.
Yeah. I haven't really touched anyone since then. Not really. At first, I was with Aegis in a cell, and till Forge got me out.
Sorry, repeat that? I'm just.
Yeah. At first Aegis took me and kept me in a cell until Forge created this.
Well, I definitely think this is one of those complicated situations of
someone attacking a cartoon character?
We're attacking a cartoon character?
I'm hearing little sound effects that sound like anvils dropping.
Dustin, are you watching Looney Tunes?
No, I'm also on push to talk, so that shouldn't be on my end.
Jane, are you watching Looney Tunes?
no.
That was delayed.
That would be I get it. That would be expected. No, I'm kind of gaming in the background since toward the bit we were having some other role play. So
yeah,
just so happens now we're having the more serious role play where I can be focused on this. So
right, I have a mobile game. Maybe it was turned up.
This is
for shame, people. Gaming while gaming.
Gaming.
Tangent, banana.
So, well, this is one of those. I definitely understand how you feel that maybe taking up this deal would give you that chance to be yourself again. But personally, for as long as I've known you, at least since I've really gotten to know you, I don't know exactly what other changes you've gone through besides physically. I know it's been a struggle, definitely, to deal with all that over the past 4 years. But I think you're a good person now.
Okay, I'm going to say this is going to fall on gaining humanity, and is the response here.
Yep.
So that's going to shift your mundane. You would clear a condition if you had one, and shift your mundane up and your freak and any other label down. So you can shift danger, freak, savior, or superior down.
And this is definitely a situation because we established that Dante knew him back when he was kind of his bully. So this is a situation where he feels that as Inferno, he likes him far more than the individual that used to, pick on him.
Yeah, but I think I'm gonna shift freak down.
Okay. Also, just kind of, this is just a thought I want to bring up there. While you're testing this, you're just like thinking like how you would feel if you couldn't go back to being Dante, and how like you kind of try to do that empathy kind of thing, and like just thinking like, how would it be if I was able to go back to who I was originally? How would I deal with that? Like, sure, it's not the same, but it just places your mind kind of wanders a bit too.
Yeah. Although the ironic part being is right now I am trying to bury myself under my identity.
Yeah,
but...
yeah. Well, that's kind of the drama of these things. That's cool.
Yeah.
Superhero drama.
Story.
Metaphor. Puberty versus fitting in.
I just denied it because I figured there's nothing in that life left.
Speaking of things that are nothing left for you in, at this point, a bunch of blackbirds erupt from a nearby fire hydrant, and out emerges one blackbird.
Oh. There you are.
Yes, Cutie, I need your help. Hello,
Hello.
Dante.
Sure, what do you need?
You also see Inferno's there. It's right at that point, it's like, wait, Inferno's also here.
Yeah, I said hello, Dante.
That's not Dante.
Oh, sorry.
That's why I was confused, because Dante is the,
Yeah, I had Dante Inferno in my head, so like.
So I think I think that's, like, you don't know the name of, you know who the secret identity is, but you don't know what the name is, and you just called Inferno Dante just to be thinking, thus you confused both of them.
Now, there's definitely a odd look on Cutie's face.
Sorry. Astral
like
projection takes you out of it.
Chipbird is now being glared at.
Whatever, your animosity aside, I need Cutie's help. There's a demon and a sorcerer out taking magic.
Wait. A demon and a sword? Oh. Well, that sounds like something that sounds well more within team's help. What about your teamwork with Artemis?
Well, ever since she's went all holier than thou, I don't think working with her right now is a good idea.
All of a sudden, he is shot with an arrow.
Hey, the heat of the moment
out of nowhere.
Wow.
And all men, a little awkward. I get the concern.
And besides, you have the most protective magic that I know of, so.
Well, thank you.
If someone is targeting magic users, then I would want you to by my side.
Well, thank you. That's very respectful of you. Well, do you have any leads?
I have a location. We can find clues there, probably.
Excellent, then.
Colonel, when he mentions the gathering of magic users, it echoes back to something the Mask had said to you about getting together friends, do whatever it is that he wanted to do. So, pointing that out there.
Yeah.
I assume you're just going to still follow him because dang it, you're not done talking here.
Yeah.
All right. I suppose you can't handle teleportation magic yet, or well.
I'm not sure it's me not handling it as much as you being shit at it.
And it might be smarter that we don't tell if there's magic being involved. Maybe we can just walk, depending on where it is.
It's a shrine.
Past the shrine. You pass through one.
Oh, sorry.
To there. That was me more just doing a shout out to our old campaign because, Japanese shrine gates.
Yeah, it's near that old shrine that got busted up a couple of months ago.
Yeah.
About a year ago, actually. I just figured since I was already hitting on Jane's old character, I would hit on Kyubi as well there.
Mm-hmm.
I'm allowed to hit on Kyubi because I am marrying her player.
Yes.
So you kind of cut to this actually. Okay, Cutie, as you go by here, you recognize this neighborhood actually.
Oh no! Don't tell me this is Emily's neighborhood.
Yep. Also, I'm going to say this. That was actually one of the more dramatic moments there is when you called her Emily instead of calling her Ember. Like that was like
doing name stuff. We're all doing name craziness in this game.
This neighborhood, there is a mental moment of hesitation as the pain Danny's suffering.
I'm continuing.
It's Jade. It's just that the sound effects are really undermining what is being said. I'm just gonna be honest.
Sorry.
All right. It's just more.
I was saying. Yes, this is a situation where Danny is definitely letting out some of his feelings over the situation. Show for a moment, even on his externalness being buried underneath.
Yeah, I think Blackbird would probably pick up on that and go, "Is something the matter?"
Just dealing with some stuff. It's nothing major.
All right. Yeah, I think Blackbird's going to You would look up. I'll do some magic here to try to find something.
Okay. Are you guys just on the street, or did you climb up a nearby rooftop as heroically appropriate? I'm just trying to figure out where you guys are.
I think street level, like.
You notice as you kind of look down the street. Colonel, you're the first person to notice this because you're just looking around with your mundane fire eyes, which is just a weird sentence there. But
what do you see with your fiery eyes?
My brand.
Yeah, I was thinking brands.
I was doing the. They're taking the Hobbit's Isengard.
Yeah, that's what I got.
Yeah. But you notice there's a bunch of cars outside of one particular house. And there's a bunch of guys leaving it. It doesn't look like there's anything that's going on. And eventually Cutie, you also notice it, and you recognize whose house that is.
Oh, no. No.
You see what looked like either you see a bunch of well-dressed guys leaving the house and going into each getting into the car. Lastly, one final guy walks out, and he is like, you can see a bit of his face. Like I mentioned, like there's like a hedge or like a trash can or an alley. You're kind of covertly looking at it. You're not in plain sight, but you get a look of his face, and the features look a little similar to what you are familiar with. And you're like, oh, so yeah, it's a tall man, still in a suit. For some reason, he is wearing like a cowboy hat, whereas everyone else is just not wearing any kind of like a Stetson. But an all black one, and he's just kind of walking there. The moonlight catches a gleam, and you see he's carrying a large revolver because like he's going all in for the cowboy motif here, I guess.
Of course.
Well, of course, if it's gleaming by moonlight, I gotta fight evil by it, apparently.
Yeah. But, you kind of realize that both you, Blackbird, I'll give you something in a second here, but both of you two realize in this moment, as the cars start pulling away, he gets up to the car in the vehicle, and the vehicle start pulling away. As one of them passes by you, you see a particular pattern. You know it's like you recognize it as one of the crime families of Halcyon City.
Is there a certain robust individual that may have had a dealing with a blank-faced member?
We got a bit of a problem here.
And on that line, we jump over to Blackbird.
Our last campaign.
Yeah, I don't actually remember a robust individual. I don't know what you mean by robust individual.
Was it Kingside, I believe you called him, Dustin?
Oh, Kingside? He wasn't really robust.
Yeah, I think you're thinking of actual Kingpin. I think that might be bleeding over into the character.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, no.
Sorry, I was making more. Yeah, I was trying to reference another character, though.
No.
But yes, you got where I was going now.
Yeah, I like to think that like the last game was more downtown, where this is more in the suburb. This game kind of takes place more in suburb.
Yeah. All right, city. This is more of a down low type of crime boss.
Yeah. King is kind of the Lex Luthor thing. Yeah. This is more of the Penguin, I'm guessing. Like.
Yeah. Either way, it's just like
Penguin meets the Sopranos.
Yeah, like this is actually not. This is probably the least superhero-y part of it. Is just this is just a genuine like organized crime family kind of thing.
All right.
But as soon as the panel of Inferno is saying we have a problem, Blackbird. You find while they're getting distracted with this, you've managed to find a trail of demonic essence that's kind of like you feel like you might, if you follow it, you can probably find the one of the sites where one of these disappearances happened.
Yeah. Of course, Blackbird, normally being a solo hunter, of course doesn't alert the others and gives chase after it.
Yeah, that's fair. That's fair.
And besides, he doesn't want anyone to see the blood and such.
Yeah, as you kind of.
What, you think Cutie is too wholesomely innocent to see such things?
Yes.
I've watched shows with you. Yes.
Okay.
You would probably have experience with seeing Cutie cry over spilled ice cream. You know, she is wholesome.
Yes. So. All right. So yeah. So. we kind of have a smash cuts, a bunch of like lingering threads here, because as Blackbird kind of walks around the corner into the alley, you kind of see this, like, you're kind of looking magically, and you kind of see this like dark spot, and kind of walk towards there, and you suddenly you see the form kind of wish out to you, and you feel the force of this thing before, like, kind of like heat given off from like a flame. You could feel the magic of this before it really gets near to you. Mm-hmm. It feels familiar for you in a way you didn't remember, like a really weird time in your life. It feels like the corrupted magical girl power.
Oh.
Oh dear. Not this again.
Return of Witchy Blackbird.
Yeah, I was like, look at myself, make sure I'm not Witchy Blackbird. And...
Well, that's the scene we're leaving you on, because that's the kind of, you coming across this is kind of what follows of, we have a problem, and then we have a scene, then we cut over to a bunch of other little things here. We cut to the tablet that Aspen left behind. It shows a location. It shows a target address, and then the next panel is an identical looking, the identical location marked on a handwritten note, marked grandfather/dad ?
Oh.
Then we have a thing of Aspen knocking on the door to Grace's house. Grace/Athena's temple house, whatever it is. You're muted still, by the way.
Who is? Oh, right.
Hey, I put it on mute because I was using my showing machine.
So yeah, so I don't know if you said anything about the map being the same for where you...
Just kind of a, huh?
And a kind of a close up of it, and a shocked looking Grace at the door. Cut to a zoom out of the house and an approaching Apollo.
Oh no.
And actually, no, you don't get the approaching Apollo thing. We get Artemis trying to find Apollo, and someone says, I don't know, right? When he said he was going off to see Athena.
Oh no.
And Regalia...
Hold on, say that one more time?
Actually, you know what? I'm just going to say Regalia was with Artemis when she was trying to find Apollo.
Apollo went off to go find Athena, basically.
Got it.
So, I feel like that's a better way to set it up than, oh, he's walking down the street.
Yeah, Regalia would not have opted to go with Artemis if the option was presented.
I don't have anything to left a cliffhanger for you.
Everyone hates Artemis.
I kind of like you're definitely setting up things. I don't really have anything specific to set up for you specifically for next week.
Hi, princess.
To be resolved. Sorry.
But I was gonna say that it was very comic booky, where all the plot points kind of like joined together and intertwined.
Yep. Oh no! I know it's you're not foreshadowing the direct things, but the last panel is of you opening that book on Greek mythology and talking about the story of, in the beginning, there is the Earth and Uranus, the sky, and how their first child, Kronos, slew his father to take control of the heavens.
Perfect.
That's the story you are currently reading in that book of Greek mythology that Grace gave to you to read. Even though it actually belongs to the library. She didn't actually steal it, she just, kind of recommended it to you. Either way. Yeah. End of session moves.
Alright.
It's alright. I actually do like the earlier start. I feel like I was able to get the attention without feeling just that extra half hour just gave me enough room to breathe, and just having more concrete pulls on everyone, and that kind of worked out well.
Yeah, the extra time does help, and like get everyone their things. So,
all right, end of the session. We'll do this.
Why are you Great Aunt Josephine right now?
All right, Aspen. Did you grow closer to the team, image of yourself, or away from the team?
I think I want to say closer to the team. With the whole news that, hey, a friend we haven't seen in forever is this person and this person.
I'm sorry.
I think it did.
I'm sorry. If you're wondering what we're laughing at, there was a cat in a chip bag.
Why?
She was doing it herself.
She did it all on her own.
That.
She stuck her face in there.
I believe that.
Tabitha.
Shockingly, it wasn't Lucy.
No, it was Tabitha. I think she's hungry.
Anyways, the friend is still alive. So
a friend is at least still around. They figured out where she poofed to. So yeah, I guess I'd say I'm going to go with closer to Regalia instead of closer to Artemis. Since Regalia was the one that found all of this out, she was the one that said, "Hey, have him relay it."
Regalia, shift Archangel's label because you already have influence over her. And Archangel, you can clear condition or mark potential.
I'm gonna mark potential again.
Okay. Still gonna stay feeling guilty, huh?
I am. Well, she's always, got some sort of guilt because her powers are not always in control.
Regalia will shift the labels for. Does he think?
This is just kind of like your influence on her character. What does Regalia make her more like and less like?
Right. Goodness. Let's do +1 savior, -1 mundane. I don't know.
My savior's already at a 3. Can't go up anymore.
That was the throwaway one. Was the plus kind of +1 danger. A superhero-y one.
Yeah, I can do +1 danger, -1 mundane.
Okay.
Yeah, because I can see that. It's like you're basically saying, like, hey, guess what? Because of following me, you're going to be going into fights in dangerous situations.
Yeah. Regalia doesn't really do the plus mundane very much. I say that having given that to Inferno at least once.
Speaking of Inferno, close to the team, away from the team, or in the image of yourself?
I know which one is likely. Sorry, Jane, I'm gonna make you shift my labels again.
Go ahead and mark potential. Jane, you get to, because influence has been given to you over Inferno once more, shift labels.
Oh goodness, everybody can I can kind of tell this.
As I said, sorry, I'm going to make you shift my labels again.
No, it makes sense. That's where we have a bond of friendship. And maybe eventually more. But friendship.
At least out loud.
I think the entire group is pushing for the more side.
So, I definitely feel this is a situation you went and asked directly for my input on this whole do you take the offer deal. So I feel like this is the situation mundane up, danger superior down. Because that definitely shows you trust me enough to ask for my opinion, but also shows
I'm going to say, I would suggest it's superior because this is about Inferno not knowing what to do.
Yep.
Yeah, okay, that makes sense.
Yeah, because pretty much he didn't know what to do, and he thinks he made a huge mistake.
Inferno with like the weirdest stat spread for the transformed, honestly, right now. It'd only be weirder if your freak was -2. All right.
Oh, my stats have been crazy for the transformed ever since that one session of Jane and
everybody was like,
Jane and Rand switched it.
All right.
Sorry.
Cutie Carbuncle.
I should have thought of my actions.
How dare you?
I know,
Cutie
right?
Carbuncle / Dante / Danny / Danielle.
/ whatever other name there is.
I feel this is definitely a situation of getting used to the team. And while I've had plenty of time with Inferno, I am very touched that actually Blackbird reached out to me, so I'm going to give him a chance here.
Oh my god, I think this is the first time anyone's ever,
No.
Had...
They've chosen you before.
Oh, okay. Well, it's such a rare thing.
Yeah.
That's why I think you have
Don't worry, the world
Shift Cutie's labels.
The world hasn't ended yet.
Inferno hasn't given Blackbird influence.
Yeah.
Now that feels like something that might...
Oh my god, I just realized! We did it again! We went back into the laser tag teams!
Yeah.
Hey, laser tag!
Alright.
I mean, in a way, anyway, we'll,
I'm shifting, Freak up and Mundane down.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah.
Blackbird's
Blackbird's particularly coming after you for your magic knowledge, so.
And thankfully,
that's fair.
And Cutie can switch the two at any time by once per session by affirming one identity over the other.
Yeah. How do I edit my sheet?
There should be.
If you double click the number, you can. It has a thingy there.
Let you do that directly now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'll figure it out in a minute. Once I'm not getting murdered.
Oh, sorry. Hover over the number, and there's like the little pen.
And go ahead and go ahead and mark potential because you have no conditions to clear.
Yep. But I'm very sure I don't want to remove my badge.
All right, and then Blackbird.
I think I'm going closer to the team again because Cutie was the one to actually help me when I called on their needs. So.
Called on their needs? What?
Cutie was the one who, was like, yeah, I'll help you, Blackbird. Like,
okay. It was just the phrasing was weird. That was more of the. I understood what you meant, but I was like.
Have I mentioned I had not had my nap yet today?
Yes,
so.
yes. So
you mentioned.
All right, Cutie.
I also don't know if someone else messed with my sheet, but I think I got my numbers right now. I might have accidentally put an additional one freak, but.
Yeah, well, right now this numbers I did also update the numbers on the screen, so we have those to back us up.
Okay.
All right. Anyways, Cutie, shift Blackbird's labels now.
Oh God! Once again, this is a situation where I think this is definitely a superior down situation because I am used to Blackbird being very haughty towards especially me, but for him respecting me, I gotta shift the superior down. Huh. He didn't come for me for advice. Well, he came for me for advice, but I'm trying to think like what fits going up then?
Savior, actually, like, well, no.
Yeah, I mean, this is very heroic to actually, make a request to someone who you think actually, has proficiency in something. So yeah, that feels fitting. I'll take your advice there.
Yeah. Also, let's ironically let's Zyson defend better. Yes. Also, while we're at it, do you think you made progress? Do we think you made progress to confronting your nemesis?
I think maybe like at the beginning, like sensing magic and like actually picking up demon auras. That's probably a useful thing. Like
yeah, and also I'm gonna say your hunting for the dark presence there. Actually, I will also count towards that. I would say is actually counting towards confronting your nemesis. So you go ahead, mark potential from that.
Yeah.
Artemis.
Yes.
Sorry, Thea.
Yes.
Do you grow close to team, away from the team, or into the image of yourself?
Closer to the team.
What made you feel welcome?
I forgot his name for a second. Oh God!
Hey, at least you didn't forget the color orange.
Regalia. Regalia. I'm sorry.
There you go. No, I know. I think some of us had those brain farts today.
On the bright side, though, Regalia doesn't have to worry about what labels to shift because you did not already have influence.
Okay.
He
took influence away from me. That's why.
No, you took
I
away.
think that goes the other way.
You took influence away from him.
Oh, I guess
And he took it away from you.
Don't worry. You didn't have influence. He didn't have influence over you. You didn't have influence over him. Didn't work out that way.
Okay, now what do I do?
Either mark potential or clear a condition. You right now are afraid and insecure.
I am going to get rid of afraid.
Okay.
Oh, I forgot to get rid of my conditions. I'm getting rid of hopeless.
Okay.
There, now I'm only angry, as all things should be in the world.
Alright. Regalia. Did you grow close to the team, away from the team, or in the image of yourself?
Oh, Can't pick close to the team and then pick Medusa.
Yeah, fortunately for you.
Close to the team, Grace. What? No.
She's on the team now, even though she can't be on the team because if she's on the team, she is no longer Grace.
Yeah, it's true.
That.
Look, we'll just kick out Artemis and it'll be fine.
Wow.
Rude gesture.
Yes. I'll do closer to Archangel. I'll go closer to Archangel.
Okay. This is the first time Archangel has ever gotten influence over you.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yep. You have been fairly basically the only people who have had influence on you in the past have been Artemis, Inferno, and Cutie Carbuncle. Of which Inferno and Cutie Carbuncle are the only ones who persist in that.
Okay. Sorry, Artemis. I'm learning something about my character, which is that like he feels it's irresponsible and petty to bring up his grudges, but he has them. Like the time to bring it up would be when he's leaving or something, but like he doesn't go for he doesn't think it's a good idea. So this means there's no confrontation coming. not at least not one where he snaps at somebody without. I mean, there are obviously circumstances that could force it. So.
Yeah. You're just very petty about your grudges, like.
All right.
Yep.
You can either clear a condition or mark potential.
Well, you did get kicked out.
Yeah.
I feel like
Mark potential.
Yeah, I feel like Regalia in this case he's not involved in this for Artemis's or Thea's sake. He's involved in this for Grace's sake.
Yeah, he's involved for Grace's sake, but also he just jumps at the chance to do good things.
Mhm.
If anything, he's angry because it's like, okay, now Artemis is involved because she knows the person. That's all right, I guess. I know she cynical.
All right.
I know she wouldn't be involved if it wasn't for that, even though that's probably not true.
All right. So, and I think I didn't miss anyone, did I?
I don't think so.
I got Steve, right? Tell me I got Steve.
I'm
You
in
got
for
Steve.
Steve.
Pretty sure you got Steve.
All right. Steve the egg. Steve
Wait, you
the
forgot
egg.
QB. Oh wait, sorry, Rob.
How do you wear pants but got no legs? Steve the egg. Steve the egg. You woke up next to sausages.
You woke up next to the sausages.
And if you get that reference, kudos upon kudos to you, audience.
I don't know if you heard my follow-up there.
Yes, I did. I did.
God, that's such an old one. I'm trying to remember where it's from. Like, I know it.
I'll remind afterward.
Yeah.
Alright. Thanks for joining us. As always, you can join our Discord with a link down in the description to chat with us and discuss the channel, or channel adjacent topics, or what else you want to. Like, what word would you substitute for orange? You can also follow us on Twitter at Tales Across to be updates from us and be notified when the channel goes live. Character art is done by a friend of the show, Carl. Links below to their DeviantArt and Ko-fi account. Finally, like, subscribe, and follow us to get both future content and help us reach a wider audience. So, to those watching us in the past, present, and future, we're shipping it, baby. And good night.
Good night.